Welcome to the Go Ahead Sis YouTube channel. My name is Mary.
And my name's Nicole.
And we are super excited about sharing our most intimate, real, and raw conversations between millennials, Generation X, and Generation Z.
It's based off of our mentor and mentee relationship, straight right here from my living room. We're passing the baton, connecting the dots between the three generations, and bridging the gaps. Okay.
Okay.
So this episode is episode 7.
I'm on episode 7.
Episode 7.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about Pretty Ain't Mean.
Right. It sure ain't.
And so,
Preach.
so first and foremost, I wanted to introduce my co-host, Mary. Hey, y'all.
Hi, Mary. Mary, I remember when you were a little girl
I
in the
remember
church.
you because I was like,
Yeah.
Baby, I said, Mary's grown.
and then black don't crack, so we don't age. So we gonna just
Well, some black be crackety crack.
some, but we don't. So
I say good black. Your spirit. I feel like when your spirit is good, your black ain't cracking.
Hey, and that's what we gonna talk. See, this is why we got on today. So bring the gospel.
Yeah.
So tell you what the PI is, and this is why we brought the right one. So we're so honored, so thankful, Mercedes, for you first and foremost just gracing us with your presence. Because I mean, you dope.
I'm a regular person, Nicole.
No, you are, but you dope and who you are. We not go listen. We give out roses and we give out crowns here.
Okay.
So, and we gonna tell you to go ahead, sis. First and foremost, we go pass the torch over to you. We want you to just kind of give the audience a little taste of who you are.
Yeah.
Introduce
Okay.
yourself.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Mercedes. On Instagram, I am Mercedes PSL. I am a fashion stylist, fashion, editorial, TV, personal styling is the realm that I work in. What else about me? That's what I love. I've known Nicole for how many years, Nicole?
Oh, girl.
10 plus years.
Yeah, early 2000s.
10 plus years. And we met in the
performing arts. I like performing arts better.
Okay, performing arts ministry. I was not working in the industry like I was now. So it's like I knew I had the talent. I knew where I wanted to go. And that was like the early stages. Now it's like, I'm doing that more. So when Nicole is like giving roses and crowns, it's because she's seen the beginnings of it to where it is now. And it's a blessing. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be able to, one thing that I've been saying more and the pandemic has taught me is that I'm grateful to be a creative and to create a lifestyle creating what I love to do. Like, to me, I'm giving more honor and more gratitude to be able to do that. Because there's a lot of people who like to create, but it doesn't always manifest in their everyday life. I've actually created a career. Yeah. I've been blessed to be able to create a career where I get to, like, the desires of my heart. I believe a part of who God created me to be was to be this stylist. And for a while I was running from it. So I'm grateful that I'm able to walk in that and have these opportunities afforded to me.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen you on a lot of sets, you know what I'm saying, doing your thing. And gracing the talents that you've been, that you've had the what's the word that I'm looking for? The
opportunity.
The opportunity, yeah, to style. So I'm like, it's been beautiful to watch you grow.
I've evolved from editorial into TV. I actually do love TV. Yeah. And the performing arts ministry in the church, that's what a lot of what we did was to create characters. Like, I love character development. So TV.
We was dope back then though, because we brought them characters to life.
Baby, on resources.
Let's hit it, because I being in the industry that we're in, because you know, our industries are very similar. You're in fashion, I'm in beauty. One of the things I have been able to take Mary along with me to, like, you know, different shoots or different events. And she's been able to experience, you know, some of like the events and stuff.
Right.
And along with some of those experiences, like I said, and this is how we came up with the, you know, well, not the podcast, but it's because it's based off of our relationship. You know, she's amazed about, you know, how some of the talent, you know, they can be this beautiful person, but then they can be nasty, you know, and she have all of these questions like, you know, Nicole, like, why are they like that? Why are they so nasty, so mean? And, you know, a lot of the times our industries are the industries that's painting a narrative. It may not be our narrative, but it's a narrative. So the first question is, well, you know what? Why is it that being beautiful and being a jerk, it seems like it goes hand in hand in our industry? And why does it seem like our industry is the industry that kind of paints that narrative?
Well, I think sometimes people feel like how to keep something exclusive, you need to be mean. You need to push people away. If something is nice, then everyone is always going to be attracted to it. That's why you create the aesthetic of the beauty, the clothes and everything. You want them to be attracted to it, but you don't want them to have direct access. And I feel like being mean also is like a barrier. Like, I don't really want you to know who I am. So I'm going to put up this front. So you can't really see me. And most people are not trained to see the person beyond who they are. So it's like, in a way, it could be a protective shell. Like, let me just keep these people out, because if you find out my business for real, then, you know, my cover is going to be blown. Like, all the insecurities that I have is going to blat out in everybody's face. So let me keep you at a distance.
So have you ever experienced that yourself? Like, either be it with the talent or even like you as yourself, have you ever been a mean girl?
I feel like I've had experiences that made me feel like I need to develop into being mean, because I was surrounded by people because what I've noticed about myself within like the past year and a half or so is that my spirit is very open, is very loving. I'm always going to want to give. I'm always going to want to share. It's never a competition. I got access. You got access. I'm going to be put on. I'm going to see, is there a way that I could possibly put you on? Because guess what? We're doing all this together. Like, if I have you in my intimate circle, we're on this journey together. And that's how I'm always looking at it. Like, we're all on this journey together. Opportunity, boom, I can't do that. Boom, you could do it. This is how it is. However, I've encountered people, because you will attract people who are opportunists. Oh, she want to put me on?
Yeah.
Oh, she want to put me on? Okay. So I'm going to ride this wave and do whatever I can, because I know the type of heart that she has. I may not do it to her, but she's going to do it for me. So I'm going to play the role. And when you attract enough people to play a role, it wore down on me, where I was like, maybe I need to be mean. Maybe, but it's like when I had to fight that internal battle of being me, it's like, this is not me though. Like, I don't feel good. I don't feel like I need to become this person, because I feel like possibly like opportunities aren't coming my way. So maybe I need to be like them, because they were an opportunist with me. So do I have to take advantage of somebody else to get opportunities? But, you know, God always reminds you that, wait a minute, you never had to be an opportunist to get the opportunities. You just have to be mindful. You just have to be mindful of the people who you are attracting, and you create that barrier. You don't have to be mean. Boundaries is not being mean. Boundaries is saying that you can go but this far, but you can't have all that access to me, because I know where your spirit is. And I could easily be influenced if I'm constantly just giving out and not replenishing myself. So I would say lack of replenishing myself caused me to take my eye off of where I needed to be and made me feel like I needed to possibly be an opportunist.
Yeah.
Which would turn me into a mean girl. Cause it's like, I don't care about you. I don't care about your feelings. But low key, deep down, I always care about you. I'm like, this is not, I feel bad. Like, I'll cuss somebody out and then feel bad. I'm like, but you really pushed me to this point.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, because it's been times like where I have allowed people to shift me out of my character, because like
I like that.
We are very open, you know what I mean? We're very loving, and you do attract the people, the opportunists, you know what I mean? And you're thinking that they are like you. That was one of my biggest lessons that I had to learn, is that everybody is not like me. And that's like such a hard lesson, because it's like, well, why aren't you like me? Like, I want you to be like me, like love like me, give me opportunities like me, but it's not. And then it sometimes made me just want to be like hardcore, like, F you, because you treat me like this. But then as you go higher up, I was telling her, as you go higher up, that circle gets real small, and you really have to be careful how you treat people, because you're going to see that same circle again. You know what I mean? And that has been just a very, very tough lesson for me, because you want to love everyone, but I'm learning how to balance. I'm learning how to have boundaries. You know what I mean? I'm learning how to know who's for me. You know what I mean? And still maintain who I am. I'm not gonna lie and say that I haven't had moments that I wasn't a mean girl, because I've had them moments. And then, like you said, got to come right back and check you and be like, that's not you. Now go back and apologize. So now what I've done is, because I don't want to go back and apologize, I'll hear it the first time and I'm like, we keeping it a buck. I'm like, so let me just do it right the first time, because I don't want to go back over here and apologize. So, okay, so let me just do it right. So, but I have had my moments where, I've been a total butt, but then after that, I'll just, make sure that I just handle it right. But,
I mean, that's even good that you even apologize. I don't know.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I said, if y'all is listening to this podcast, this is my apology.
You know what?
I'm in a better place.
I'm not the same person I was.
I'm not the same.
What'd you say? You're not the same person?
I'm not the same person I was before. That was a slip of character. I apologize.
But it's like, we have a generation coming up, especially like her generation and below, where they just feel like character integrity, both male and female, it's like it's out the window. You know what I mean? Would you say that?
Yeah.
Like,
I would.
Because I feel like our generation, and you correct me if I'm wrong, we're not teaching them, you know what I mean, the boundaries, or the, how to have, how to treat, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, opportunity. No, you go over here and you see it, that door open, you step over whoever, crabs in a bucket. You do whatever you need to do to get to the top. I don't care if it's your best friend, you do this and you do that. Throw your character, your morals, your integrity out the door, no matter who it may hurt. And we have a generation that's coming up right now that they can care less about that.
And you know why they can care less about it is because our generation is working on healing ourselves and correcting what we didn't learn. So it's like through the healing process, it's really hard to focus on our sisters, our younger sisters, because I'm like, I got to make sure, like we're in the airplane, I got to make sure I'm good. But there has to come a point within the process that you make sure you're good. And you're just like, hey, I'm also on this journey too of making sure I'm good. Like, let me check in with you. Let me make sure that you're good. Let me make sure that you understand that we're not continuing this cycle, because this is what it is right now. It just gets more aggressive.
Yeah.
With people just going after their goals, where it's like, it's greater than that. Like when
you just touched on something, Mercedes. I never heard anyone address that. That our generation, that we're too busy working on our healing, talk about that a little bit more because it's like a light bulb. I know you see the light bulb going on because I've never heard anybody address that or even bring that to the light that our generation has been working on our healing, that we look back to this generation to say, hey, I don't have time to help you right now because I'm kind of working on our healing. I always saw it as our generation was the young parents because grandmama's like 40, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they grew up with the girls and they in the club with the girls, but I never looked at it as that. Explain that a little bit more.
So I feel like with our generation, we have been sort of like left to figure it out.
Yeah.
Left to figure it out, what the rules are, how to navigate. And we've gotten to a point where we're just like, I'm not going to continue this cycle of just being left to fend for myself. Like our parents had to survive. So when you're in survival mode, the click to thrive is not there yet. We've had the opportunities because they're in survival mode. You need to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And within that process, we're like, listen, I did need to survive, but right now I need to thrive. That's where the healing comes in. That's where the correcting of these mindsets is coming in. That's why you're here, because you healed yourself. You're now looking back at your sisters to say, hey, you can thrive. You don't have to go through survival mode. That's what we're here to do. That's why we're fixing ourselves. So everyone coming up after us don't have to survive. They're thriving. And they skip over certain steps because innately they know how to find the balance in taking care of themselves and looking out to someone else. However, there's still a gap because then you have like this whole celebrity culture. Everybody wants to be a celebrity. So you step over on everything. And it's like, that's where the shift is messing up. That's where you have the healing culture and you have the celebrity culture. And I feel like sometimes the mean girls try to overlap into the healing. And you realize like now this is just a group of healing mean girls.
Oh, girls. So hold on. I got to take some notes because you're talking right there. Hold on. You keep talking because I'm like, I got to take some notes. Probably some stuff I didn't even think about. Okay, go ahead with your question.
No, I was going to say, and when you said it overlaps, sometimes kind of they cover it up as healing, but it's not healing. It's really insecurities that they're projecting on you, trying to seem like, oh, well, I'm walking through this, or hey, don't do this. But it's more like you're saying like a don't do this because I might go somewhere that you weren't. So then it becomes competition, and that's all of that can get mixed up.
Yeah,
exactly.
But more damage, like, right. And that's why the girls was saying that a lot of these empowerment groups were not really healing groups.
Exactly. That's why, because you do have a big generation of empowerment, sisterhood. But what is the real deal?
With the wrong
what is the real? Can you fully expose yourself? Like I am attracted to healers who are fully exposing themselves and authentic. Tell me what the real deal is, because guess what? I'm looking inward to myself to do all of the shadow work to deal with what the real deal is in myself. So when I show up someplace, I'm showing up as authentic as I can be. And every day is a journey. Yeah. You wipe the mirror as much as you can.
Yeah.
But don't wipe the mirror with the mindset that I'm trying to see your reflection instead of seeing what my issues are. That becomes a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. So just backing up a little bit, because I know you and I, we both touched on, because I what did I send you?
It was a post that I was like, I don't really deal with his spirit like that. It'd be triggering me in some type of way.
Yeah, she was like, that's not me anymore. And it was
like about hustling.
Yeah. And you was like, no, you was like, I don't, not that you didn't co-sign. No, you was like, that's not me anymore, that you don't resonate with that anymore. So I know, I can tell that you've been doing a lot of the work, a lot of like the internal work, because I have. And one of the things that you said, healers are attracted to other healers. And that's facts, because I know that's all that I have around me, people that's really been doing the work. Especially in an authentic and transparent way. You understand what I'm saying? So what are some of the ways that you've been walking through your healing process?
One of the big ways for me that was really transformative was therapy.
Oh, me too. Me too.
And I got into cognitive therapy, which is what I need because I'm very mental in my thoughts and how I deal with things. I'm in my headspace. I'm always thinking about something. And, you know, it begins to, the way I think affects my mood, my emotions, everything. Mm-hmm. So being in therapy really has helped me be able to break down what the issues are on a practical level, because I also understand that practicality, I need to be able to apply this in my life. Like, I just don't want to come and talk to you about stuff and then I walk away and it's just a conversation that we had. Like, how can I apply these things in my life? How can I be present with my family members, the women in my family? Let's start there before I even get into friendships. Like, let's start with my bloodline.
Yeah.
How can I be more compassionate to my mother?
Yeah.
How can I be more compassionate to my aunt? Like, how can I be more compassionate to people who I feel like maybe that I didn't get enough, I wanted enough. I can't change the past. However, I can be compassionate to a woman who did what she had to do to survive. Now, and I'm in a position to thrive. I can look back and return that compassion. That's nothing but an act of God. Because then you have, when I was battling with a lot of internal anger, mm-hmm. that I realized caused conflicts. The accountability had to come in when I'm like, mentally, you're going into spaces still angry about situations. Are you even present to see maybe this person was kind to you today and you just overlooked it because you were still angry about something else?
Girl, that's good. Because I know for me, I had to do a lot of that through therapy. And mm-hmm. God is so dope, because I'm listening to, because this conversation, like, so pretty ain't mean. And guys, to our listeners, what you guys are hearing is, even though you thought we were going to talk about like, oh, girls and guys and how they out there doing this, pretty starts inside. Mm-hmm. And that's what this conversation is about. It's about doing like the internal work that is mm-hmm. not about anybody. It's about you and you dealing with all the hurts, all the pains, all the internal stuff. You know what I'm saying? That you've mm-hmm. never dealt with. Like you just said, you went to therapy, I went to therapy, and we had to deal with all the stuff, all the trauma mm-hmm. and that we had to right. From childhood. Mm-hmm. For me, the therapy that I had to do, that I had to deal with was dealing, like forgiving like my mom and my dad. Like I just lost my dad. You know what I mean?
Oh, my condolences.
That I went back and I did the work, before he passed. Had no mm-hmm. idea that he was gonna, pass in January, mm-hmm. but going back and doing the work and and healing from all of that. So now, you know what I'm saying? Like mm-hmm. my pretty can be a little bit different. So it's not mean, it's not ugly, it's not hurtful, and it's, being reflected in this bad way and going out there and hurting people. You know what I'm saying? That it can mm-hmm. actually be, reflected like in a good way, for once.
Right. But the thing about it is, like, how could you truly be pretty if you don't smile easy?
Oh,
like a smile comes from joy. Like the way that I smile right now, like I'm a New Yorker. First of all, I ain't gonna flash a smile to everybody because y'all gonna get caught up. But because it's inviting, it's like, oh my gosh, not yet, no, because you could be crazy.
But you know what? Or probably real talk, probably for maybe like even my high school, maybe most of my 20s. Do you know that I did not smile? Like it was like. I learned it as, remember at the beginning of the conversation when you said it was a defense mechanism? Mm-hmm. That's what I did to keep people away. That's what I said. I had moments where I was not approachable. I was not, well, I didn't think I was pretty.
Yeah, me neither.
Externally, yeah. You know what I mean? Right. But I didn't think I was on the inside right. at that time either. So like what she was saying, I couldn't reflect that. I wasn't smiling at you because I was like,
I don't want to smile for myself. So why am I mm-hmm.
Yeah, why would I smile
Yeah.
for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then too, I didn't do the work. I didn't know how. I was a kid. You know what I mean? But yeah, for years I didn't smile. You remember how it was back in the day I didn't smile then.
But you know what? I was still always, and my thing, I feel like I've always been like joyous because you know this. So
yeah.
So even with somebody not smiling, like if I could sense your spirit, I'ma still come in. Like maybe I'm just the person who is going to be attracted to the people who have the defense mechanism up. And I feel like I've had friendships like that where it's like I'm the one who's all happy and stuff. You want to be that. That's why you want to be my friend. That's why we're attracted to each other. And I see a light in you too that I want to pull out. Like I never felt like you were harsh or any way towards me. Even if you felt like
Mercedes, I said she's funny. Yeah. I said she was always the funny person in the room. Right. And that has always been my thought of you. Like you were always had the big smile and you were coming in with jokes. You always had the jokes. You and Amy.
Right. Stand up time.
Yeah, stand up time. No time. Right. Yeah. But no, like that's
I
true.
agree. I attracted friends who I knew their heart was sweet, but we both had defense mechanisms of being mean. And it was just like I see, you see me. All right, we can But through the conversation, what I'm understanding is pretty is not looks, pretty is showing up healthy.
That's that. You better Mary, come with the
You're funny.
That is pretty showing up healthy. Because what does your health look like when you're internally battling yourself?
Yeah, break that down. That's you can't just drop the word. Like that's good.
But internally healthy. So like you both said, the conversation is what's on the inside is only going to show what's on the outside. So it's one thing to be beat face and hair laid into the gods or whatever, but if you're not beat face and hair laid inside, it's like a decaying inside. But as long as you're good here, then it's like, oh, I'm pretty. Well, no, not really, because when you talk, you can hear the ugliness come out.
So what do you say about with your generation? Because you know they banging with the lace fronts, the caterpillar,
it's a
eyelashes,
it's a
beat face.
I would say, because I did it too. It was a lot of insecurities. I did it because, as you see, now I've been natural for like a year or something.
I feel like when you, not to cut you off, I feel like when you can show up fully natural, that is a level of acceptance.
Yeah.
That many people have not tapped into. Like, you don't know, my thing is that you're not pretty, you gorgeous. Cause you're like, I fully embody everything who I am. And I'm bold enough to present it because I know the beauty that I walk in.
Cash app, please. I agree. What was I saying before that? Lord.
No, we was talking about like with the girls and the lashes. And
yes. You actually, okay. So,
and you said you went through a period of that.
Right. Because everybody's trying to have this certain appearance.
Everybody look alike. They like look copies.
Yeah, everybody look alike, and
with the same sadness, the same unhappiness.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. That's the key.
So we all look alike on the inside and on the outside.
Ooh.
Probably different struggles in life, but we all look alike. All rejection, all insecurities, all abandonment. It's just showing up in the hair and makeup.
All unhealthy.
Yeah.
A bunch of unhealthy people.
Because I've had rejection before. I had people pleasing comes into that too, because I want to.
And this goes for the guys too, though. It ain't only a girl
the fades and all of that.
But it's with the guys is men is more external. And so it's like, how am I going to be able to prove myself? How am I showing up in these situations? What can I acquire? So maybe men.
The way that they treat the women, though, too. The way that they treat the women these days. I mean, like, some of them, because of how they look, they treat some of the women like
trash,
like trash. Yeah.
And then we allow it because we see ourselves as that.
Because you know what? I feel like women, because I had a conversation about, I made a comment on a post, and that post got like probably like 900 and some odd likes and like all these comments. But what got to me the most was the amount of women. And I didn't like that. I said, why are women rallying around a man saying not nice things about other women? I will never be part. I will never be part of that category. I don't care. I'm gonna fight for my sisters. Like, I'm not gonna have any man disrespecting. Even if she's disrespecting herself, let's gather around her as a sisterhood to make sure she's good. But I'm not gonna have a man come in and say anything crazy. And I was really taken back by the amount of women who are part of the culture of not speaking kindness to other women to back other men doing that. I feel like that's a problem. I feel like that's a problem that we have now. It's like,
but they don't know anything else though. Like, Mercedes, this is what I'm saying. Like, who is, when you know better, you do better. But if they don't know, because I'm like, if you think about everything that's on TV, that's why I started out with our industry, with fashion and beauty, with the narratives that most of our industry push, right? But if that's all that's being pushed and is popular, they don't know to do better. You understand what I'm saying?
You're right.
Like,
that's compassion. That's to me, like, that can be an area of compassion for me to be like, you know what? Well, she doesn't really understand sisterhood.
Right. But the knowledge that you spitting right now, like, and this is why I wanted you to hit the airways, because I'm like, you're spitting gems, because this is stuff that women need to hear. You know what I mean? And I know the gentleman that you're talking about, and I was like, why are they listening to him? And but exactly. I know exactly who, because he puts me in a place, but they don't know. They're looking for a validation, because
that's key. That's it, validation.
But they don't know any better.
You're right.
And they dealing with daddy issues. You know what I mean? Because they think pretty is mean. They're used to that toxic. They're used to, you know what I mean? So I used to think that love was toxic. Love was dysfunctional until, and this is real talk, until God was really dealing with me, and I had to go back and really look up what love looked like. And love looked like none of that. You understand what I'm saying? And I had to really, really go through like a season of reprogramming my mind what love was. You understand what I'm saying? Love is kind. That ain't mean. You know what I'm saying? I love to give you correction that sometimes may feel uncomfortable, and you like, you mean, but you understand what I'm saying? But like, it may get uncomfortable, but it's not mean. It's not dysfunctional. It's not toxic. And so that's the same thing, like with this whole, like this whole, you know, because I see so many like young girls just thinking about, like, you know, oh, you know what I mean? Because I want to be desirable, because I want to be pretty, I have to do this, I have to act like this. And I'm like, no, you don't.
You really don't. And I'm like, more women, we need to raise our girls to know the upper hand that we have. Like, the gem, the beauty of being a woman. Like, it's, first of all, I love men, first of all.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, you know, I thank you for these specimens.
Brown skin. Love you.
But like, women need to know the beauty that we walk in, and like, we need to teach our girls this, because it's like, when you value yourself, you can validate yourself.
Okay. I like that.
You're not looking for someone else on the outside to do this, because you already know what you come with. I don't need to prove anything to you.
Okay. So, you talked about your therapy. What does that look like? Practical.
Practical for me is When I'm feeling anxious or doubting who I am, what experience from my past is coming up that's reminding me of this? Mm-hmm. I need to I identify what that experience is. Why is this? What's an example that I can give about my therapy session? Because we be going, so about guys, because we recently started talking and brought men into the equation after like a year and a half. Because I was like, I feel like I keep attracting the same type of man. What about me is attractive?
I'll tell you what my therapist told me, because we had the same conversation. She said, she broke it down to me. She said, tell me about your best friend.
Oh my gosh, she did the same thing with me.
And so she told me, one of my best friends, her name is Danielle. She said, tell me about her. And I told her, and she said, name me 5 things about Danielle. And I was like, naming the 5 things. And so she was like, so why don't you look for that in any of your relationships, regardless if it's male or female? She said, those are your 5 foundations that should be your and what you look for in all your relationships. So your non-negotiables. And I was like, a light bulb, something so simple. And I was like,
you wouldn't do that.
I feel like I ain't gonna say that because then nobody. But I was feeling a little special because I was like, I ain't think about that. You know what I mean? I was like, being loyal, always being there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She was like, so why aren't you looking for that in your man? Mm-hmm. And I was like, because I thought it was separate, right. My friends are here, guys are here. And so my list here is different from here. She was like, no, she was like, a friendship is a friendship. She was like, because your friendship you got to have a friendship with your guy too. Mm-hmm. She was like, so those 5 qualities should be across the board. These are your non-negotiables. Is that what your therapist told you?
When I tell you, Nicole, we might have the same therapist. We might, because this is the exact conversation that I had with her 2 weeks ago. And I broke down. I was like, when I spoke about Alexis, and I'm like, she's like my greatest friend. I feel like the level of vulnerability, like I can laugh, I can be who I am. Like, and I just feel like she knows me.
Yeah.
Like, and it's reciprocal. We're always like, I feel like Alexis and I are twins that were born 7 days apart.
Yep.
Like you see me, you see her.
Paul, and you're like, okay, like they tapped into you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm just like, and she said the same thing. She was like, that's what you need to be doing when you look into relationships.
Yeah.
That is exactly the exact same thing your therapist. So I said, that is the practicality of my therapy sessions. Cause now I walk away and I'm just like, Alexis is the gold standard for all my relationships. Yeah. How am I showing up? If I am saying that I'm friends with someone, am I able to show up being vulnerable? Am I able to, is the relationship reciprocal?
Yes.
Can I see you? Can you see me? Like, what is going on? If those things are not there, then for my friend, we don't have anything. I'm not here picking up associates or any of like, and I told that to Nicole. I said, listen, I don't categorize relationships anymore. Like if we're working together and we become cool and it can get to a point where a friendship, like the door is open. Now boundaries need to be set because you're just not going to let everybody in the street in your house. I get that part. But when I use the title friend, I'm not using title friend, like work friend. No. If I'm calling you my friend, there's a level of intimacy that's there and that's expected.
Yeah, that's good. I hope y'all taking notes because this is good. She breaking it down in this simple form. Okay, that's good. Okay. That's good. Okay, so that's number 1.
Know your friend.
Know your friend. Yes.
Know your friends, but also know yourself. Because if you know yourself, you know what you need in relationships. Mm-hmm. So it always goes back to yourself. Like Alexis, and my therapist said, Alexis is a reflection of you.
Yeah, they are.
So you love this woman so much because you show up with this much love. This is a reflection of you. So it's like, now is understanding that if this person that I love so much is a reflection of me, I need to see me on a practical level throughout life. I am loving. I am all these things. I am this. I am great in whatever the level of greatness I need to be in. Because your relationships are a reflection of you. That's why I'm not picking up just people anymore just to relate to.
Yeah. Yeah. And what brought you to that point of not picking up anyone just because of everything that you've just been going through?
Well, I had COVID in May. And I say when I had COVID, I had COVID in May, and my COVID experience in May was a spiritual experience.
Okay.
Because it made it very clear being out of alignment and just accumulating things, the amount of emotions that I went through, having just to be in the house, laying around for like almost a month. You have to deal with yourself. You have to deal with, okay, God, like, what am I doing? I'm here sitting like, okay, what's going on with me? Like, I know I'm in a state right now where I'm not feeling well, but emotionally, I'm not feeling well as well.
Yeah.
So what are you willing to rid yourself of? So emotionally and mentally, you are healthy.
Yeah.
People who I do not feel like are reciprocal.
Yeah.
Relationships that I don't feel like are reciprocal. And I made a list. Throughout the process, I made a list. What are you getting out of this relationship? What are you giving in this relationship? Are you happy?
Yeah. And you went to person.
Yep. And I was also accountable for the things that I brought to the relationship that weren't healthy. And then I broke down where did you get that unhealthy trait from? Where is this stemming from? Where is this need, this insecurity? And I had to go back down the rabbit hole. Issues with my father. My father wasn't present in my life.
Yeah.
So it's like you deal with abandonment and then you show up in your relationships expecting to be abandoned. So therefore you go into overdrive of people pleasing.
Oh, girl. Thanks. Oh, go ahead. You go first because I've been asking a lot of questions. Go ahead. I'll let you take this.
Because I was just about to ask, so what would be the first thing, but you were just talking and it was, so I didn't know exactly where the stem of people pleasing came from, but you just said it when you go to abandonment, and it goes back into, we had an episode about our thoughts and basically like what you're thinking will manifest itself. So you can't be upset. Now I see how the two come into one. You can't be upset. Well, if you're going to be upset, not be upset at yourself, but hold yourself accountable because you have those thoughts going in your mind. So they manifested itself. And now you're going to the root of it, which was abandonment. So now abandonment made you assume that this person was going to abandon you. And now that God forbid it does happen, it's a cycle. That's how the cycle keeps happening because of the mind, and you're not going to the root, but you just went to the root. So thank you.
But that was it for me. And it's like, is this really an authentic friendship? I had to ask myself, is this really an authentic relationship? Because the foundation of it is you didn't want to be abandoned. You didn't want to be rejected. What does it look like if rejection or abandonment is not there?
So what do you do now when you find yourself in a place when you want to retreat back to people pleasing?
So I'm still fresh out the game. So I feel like I am more actively having harsher boundaries up because I haven't found that middle ground of peace. Just a level of transparency is still very new to me. So I'm still in a phase where I'm like, no, I'm not. And God is like, well, maybe you could have, but okay. Another experience could come about where you can learn to be more flexible. But now I feel like I'm just in a space where I'm very trigger happy in the sense that, like it's at the forefront of my mind. So it's very hard for me to go into a situation right now. Because I am guarded. That's a better word. I am guarded. It's very hard for me to go into a situation where I am going to be pleasing someone in that capacity that's going to be depleting of me.
Yeah, because for me, because I love people, and for me, my trigger is if it feels heavy.
Mm.
I guess feels heavy, then I know that I'm in people pleasing.
Right.
Because
Okay.
if it's something that I want to do, it feels light, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that I really don't want to do, but I'm just doing it because I just want to please that person, then that's when it feels heavy. And that's my indication, like, Nick, just say no, because
said no.
you don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
So I have a question. Does it feel, has there ever been an instance where it feels light, even though it should be a no, because you really like the person? That's going to be the issue for me. Like when I really like you, a lot of compromise is there.
For me, it's always a hesitation, and it's heavy for me, Mercedes.
Okay.
Like it's always like it's just like hopscotch. I'm always, and that's like, Nick, you don't want to do it, just say no. You know what I mean? But because I want to please, it's in my nature. Like my nature is to love and care for people. And then but then like you said, when you're depleted and nobody's coming to your rescue, and then you sitting around like, ain't nobody gonna come and help me, and then you sitting there upset. I like that word that you use, about being unhealthy. And then I'm sitting around and my pretty ain't looking right because I'm in a, your state is unhealthy at that time because you depleted. So now I just go off of, I don't force anything. If there's indications that it's not flowing, I don't force it anymore. I used to force it and make it happen because it was in my nature to just make stuff happen. You know what I mean? If it don't feel right, I just don't do it anymore. Because I noticed that when I do it, it costs me. It costs me more.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Like it costs me. Like it may cost me more money to go out of my way. Or it's expensive. So I just thought, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good, I'm like, I want to know where I'll check back in and see where I am 6 months from now.
Yeah.
It's still a new experience, but to get to that point was a lot.
Yeah. And you will feel it because you're very in tune with who you are. You will feel it, like, especially like in yourself, like you'll feel the hesitation, you know what I mean? And especially because you're already kind of like checking for the person and looking at the person. Now you can kind of feel when people are using you now. You know what I mean? Or like opportunists, you can feel when the person is authentic and when they're not. You can feel them come a mile away. And, unless it's just something that I just want to just do and I just want the experience.
Right. So it's like, okay, I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's reciprocal in some type of way for me because I already know what it is.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I do have to work on is being around, like when I'm in uncomfortable situations, when I'm around people that like to gossip about other people. That's the thing that puts me in a very uncomfortable situation. How do you handle that?
I'm still handling that. Because it's like, in a professional way, I can't respond like how Mercedes wants to respond.
How would Mercedes want to respond?
I don't care about this. Like what? Like, why are we even here?
And why are you even talking about that? Yeah.
Why are you even talking about, like, why are you pressed about that?
Yeah. Why is that even business? That's what I want to say. Like, why?
I was like, why we can't say that? But then it's like, oh, okay, I see the same.
Why can't we say that?
Because we still have to professionally navigate relationships in a way that's still beneficial to us. Like, I think that you could change the subject, or you just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go get a drink and I'm not gonna come back.
That's right. I'm not gonna come. Where Mercedes at?
Right, because if you're talking about somebody like that, what I've learned is that you talk about me like that. So I can't be in a space where I could potentially allow myself to be open, which means that I'm now in a space where I'm guarded. Why am I hanging around with the guards? No, I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah.
But that I really wish I could just get to a point where like, I really don't care. Like, that's none of your business.
But then that's another thing too. And I feel like generation too, that they are that they in their friendships, they're taught to talk about people, and that's okay.
Yeah, we are.
You know what I mean? To backstab.
We're taught to, well, even it could be through music, it could be through shows. It's like gossip is beneficial to a friendship. Like it brings us closer together.
It's a bonding mechanism.
Right. It's a bonding mechanism.
It is. It's trauma bonding.
Right. It's trauma bonding. Yeah. It is bonding, but it's a negative side of bonding.
Toxic.
Yeah.
And then when you try to correct somebody, the thing about it is that why I also don't want to say the way I want to say is because that immediately puts you on the spot. Like, you really looking real whack right now. And you looking real whack.
And the thing is, they're talking about people, but then when we correct them, then they feel awkward. Right. But you're talking about people, but then we're in the wrong for correcting you.
And then call you defensive. And
doesn't that sound crazy?
Right. Yeah. It's
that's why I'm like, y'all not. I'm like, you're not ready for this smoke.
Actions.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just
exactly
aware of what they're doing. Because some people will know it, but then when pride come in and be like, oh no, I can't, you're not about to do that in front of me. But it's like, but you did that 5 minutes ago.
Like, who do you think you are? I don't want to talk about this person. That's who I think I am.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess it ties into just using your voice and talking up, because most people, the reason why pretty isn't healthy is because nobody didn't want to use their voice. Like whether it's a 5-year-old showing up or just now.
Right. And also, I just feel like there's a generation, like if you see your mama and your aunts and everybody, all the women around you just gossiping, just talking about everybody. And then they just, go about their day. Like everybody knows what happens. Like that's a cycle. Like you just be like, okay, well, this is a part of the friendship. What needs to be a part of the friendship is I'm not going to talk about you. I'm going to address whatever issues we have
and heal
and see if we can move forward with this.
Yeah.
Can we have a conversation before you tell the whole block my business?
But then I think the thing is that's like really shocking, like just listening to this conversation is just going back to when we were talking about how all the cover up and just how there's just so many people just walking around in an unhealthy state and they just really don't know how to get out. And then number 2 is when Mercedes hit us with that healing culture clashing with the celebrity culture that produced that empowerment culture. I'm still there. I'm still that produced this empowerment culture that actually kind of caused more damage and hurt a lot of people, because a lot of people went in thinking that they were going to get healed, but they actually got hurt by the mean girl. Hurt people. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm still there and I'm still processing, that part. So you walking around with a whole bunch of hurt people still trying to heal. Yeah. And then the last part was when you hit us with our generation, so busy trying to heal that we didn't have the opportunity to go back and say, hey, let me go back and get you because we too busy trying to heal.
Right.
That's
or are they healing? Like when Nicole just mentioned that about, your generation healing, on certain shows, it doesn't look like they're healing, like reality shows. So it's like, are they healing at all?
But the thing about it is that I just feel like there's a lot always going on. There's people who are healing themselves. And then there's people who are just, going through the cycle. You're always going to have that. So you help who you can. And I feel like we are helping ourselves because we need to have a full understanding. Like throughout my healing journey, I really could not look back and help anyone else at that time because I was so consumed with purging myself that I also wanted to protect someone else to not have to go through it. So I am going to isolate myself to have a better understanding. So if I am in a position where I need to explain why I did something or how it happened or how I could help, because I know myself, I can openly give to you. So that's the isolation with our generation and healing. It's like I don't want you to be messed up. I don't want to expose maybe my trip up to you.
Yeah.
And also not expose the healing side to it. Because you could just come into my life while I'm tripping up and be like, oh, she's a hot mess. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But you don't see that a week later, I was good and how I rectified it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you go through, the question is, how do you go through your healing journey with full vulnerability and allow someone to see all sides of you so that they can get the full picture?
But yeah, I had somebody recently that didn't see the whole picture, and they was trying to hold me to
exactly
old years ago.
And then that's a trigger in itself for your journey, because it's like, I'm not even that anymore.
I know who I am too. So, and I had to kind of check that individual, and I was like, you trying to hold me to something that was 6-7 years ago? And I was like, I'm so beyond that. And but you got to know who you are and have done the work.
Right.
So yeah. And most people don't see the whole picture, and they really do try to hold you to who you are. They don't see the whole picture. They never do. Yeah. This is good.
I love this.
It is good. Thank you.
So, to kind of wrap it up, what would you? So I have 2 questions.
Okay.
I had one when we were talking. See, I got to start writing stuff down.
So what would you tell your old self, your younger self? And yeah, so we'll start there. So what would you tell your younger self? And then let's start there. What would you tell your younger self? Like what would you give your younger self?
Advice that I would give my younger self is, we gonna be all right. Because I had to go through all of that to get to this place. Like, we gonna be all right. I'm actually doing inner child healing work right now too. So to be able to look back at my younger self and be like, all you had to do was just show up and just be you and just continue to show up. Like, this life was given to you for you to have an experience, and get back to the magic of who you are. Just stay focused on who you are and the magic that you always bring to everything. That's what I would tell my younger self. Like, don't derail from that. Like, hold on to that at all costs. Because when I got back to myself was when I realized that I've always had that, and I diminished it through experiences. Like, don't let go of who you are. Like, you're amazing. Like, always just stay. It's okay. We gonna mess up. We gonna trip up. You know what? And then you come back, because you know your heart. You know your heart is always pure.
Yeah, I'm doing inner child work. I'm reading this book called Hold Again.
Oh,
and I'll.
You send me a screenshot.
Yeah, so I'm listening to the audio, and I bought the book to follow along. So that's funny that we're both kind of working on the same work. You draw people at where you are. So yeah, you draw a mirror, because that was something that I really wanted to start doing was to work on my inner child. And I even took it a step further. So I went and I got pictures of my younger self during the times that was traumatic for me. See myself because I'm a visual person. So I can see myself at those stages. You know what I mean? And I wanted to write about what happened during those moments, and then apologize for not protecting her. I'm like tearing up right now. But
I mean, that's if I was on let it flow, because that's how I'm also a part of like a women's group. Sheila Marie, her name is Sheila Marie. She does like Curvy Girl Conscious. She has a Patreon that I'm a part of, where she talks about like healing and like meditation. And one of the meditations that she had it's called like Hanapana. It's a meditation practice where you identify what the issue is, you apologize, you tell yourself you love yourself, and you release the experience by saying thank you. When I got, every single time I go into this meditation, if I have to do for something and I have to say, I apologize, is taking accountability for how I showed up in this situation, the experience that I went through, and I'm always bawling.
Okay.
And then when you get to the point where you talk about you love yourself, in spite of everything that you've gone through, you love yourself completely. Like, to say I love you to yourself is tear jerking. To me, I could tell people I love you all the time, but to say I love you because I'm saying I love you because I know my experiences as a whole, and then to still say I love you, and then to thank God for the experience because it's no longer there. It's no longer going to hold me hostage. I could release this. I have knowledge of it, but I could release it. So it's like you going through that journey with your pictures and journaling it is you actually acknowledging it. Like, okay, I could not, the reality is that we could not protect ourselves like we could as children, as we are as an adult.
Yeah.
But it's honoring the fact that your younger self had an experience that you're acknowledging that you didn't have the voice to share, or have the adults in your life to come in and create a safety net, that now you are creating that safety net, because our inner child is always there with us.
Always there with us. It's always there with us.
So that's a beautiful experience. I think a lot of people should go through that inner child experience, what you're doing with the journaling. I think everyone should go through that, because then you acknowledge where you are in life and really can have accountability for your experiences in your life moving forward. You're no longer a victim. Because I feel like when we don't acknowledge our inner child, we tend to remain in victim mode.
Yeah. Because I know in one of my workshops, I used to have the girls say, I love you in the mirror. And you know that was like you said, it's one of the hardest workshops. It's one of the hardest things for people to do, because one, most people don't look at themselves long enough to do that. And most people are not used to talking to themselves like that. You need to just say, I love you. And then to make them sit there and just constantly say it, either they're going to get angry or either they're going to start crying. Because they've never had to just look at themselves to see what the emotion is. So that's a beautiful thing. This has been a beautiful episode. I believe that, what'd you say?
I'm like, ooh. Right.
I feel edified talking to you guys.
It is like, you just, it
was healing.
It was healing. It's full, it's rich. Like, I'm gonna have to go back because it was so many gems dropped. I just, you rich. You full of knowledge, I wanted to bring a different perspective of pretty, and that's exactly what you did. I know most people probably going to log on thinking that we're going to talk about aesthetics, the outside, but I wanted them to see pretty from a different perspective, which talking about inner. And that's exactly, what we wanted to cover. And that's exactly what you did. So,
you did the assignment. You knew the assignment.
Yeah, like it was, I told you, I was like, I got the right person. Right person.
I learned a lot. I think I'm gonna do I'm gonna have to find a picture somewhere, but I'm gonna go back and I tried to do the saying, no, I said I forgive you sometimes, but I said it up here, but it really didn't register here, and probably I was trying to rush the whole thing because I know where I might go with that. So I was like, oh, I forgive you, Mary. And then just kept it pushing.
Time. You have to really be ready to go in. Like I'm only on chapter 1 of the book, because like I had to put it down because I have to process, because like with the audio book, it's an 8-hour. I can complete that in a day, especially like if I'm out walking or something, but I really want to process it. So I had to close it up, and then I had to start one over again because I really want to process like the practical steps, and then begin to like journal and write, like my thoughts like behind it and stuff. So I really do like the exercise because I really want to, move past the stage. And like you said, really begin to like heal that inner child, because she's always with you, you know, and she shows up.
She does.
She shows up, especially when it's time to protect you in those certain situations. You know what I mean?
Defense mechanism.
We gonna close out because I know we can sit here and talk about it. That was one of the things that my therapist told me. She said, always recognize during certain situations, so when you go through trauma, depending on, say, like if you went through trauma at say 8, 14, 21, when something happens, you have to figure out who's showing up. Is it you now? Is it that 8-year-old? Is it that 14-year-old or that 21-year-old? And she was like, because one of them is showing up for a reason, to protect you in that situation, because that situation took you back to that place. So different situations trigger you back to those moments.
Right.
Either to that 8-year-old, either to that 14-year-old or that 21-year-old. So you gotta, well, it's up to you. You don't have to do anything, but you know, you can go in and do the work. You don't want no 8-year-old making no decisions for you.
Yeah.
That especially when it comes to money. No.
Right. You don't want no 14-year-old making no decisions for you, you know? So yeah.
Not no teenage pregnancy and you grown. Not mentally teenage pregnancy and you physically grown.
Right.
We know there's a lot of that going on. But Nicole, Mary, I would like to say that this is a beautiful experience. This is a beautiful platform that you guys have created. Like, this is an important space. You guys are doing good work. I'm grateful for it because it's like it's bridging the gap.
Aww.
So like I said, like we're so focused on ourselves. You guys have, you know, you understand your individual mission, but you understand the purpose that it is together and to help the generations to come. Right. So that's a beautiful space that, you know, this is beautiful. This is amazing. And y'all are pretty too. So it's like, listen.
Thank you. What you say?
I said, thanks, sis.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, sis.
Okay. You said.
Thank you. This has been beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to go back myself and be like, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I'm gonna have to look up that healing culture and celebrity culture. Yeah. Because that we may have to do a part 2. I'm serious on that because
we can come back.
That I ain't even think about.
Is tied up all in that.
No, because that's a whole nother thing, the healing culture, celebrity culture that led to, because you understand the women that have came out of that with the whole empowerment, they got hurt in that. That's a whole nother thing. I'm gonna have to process that. But yeah, there may be a part 2. So you okay about that. So
I'll be ready.
Love you so much. Thank you.
I love you. I love you. Bye.
Bye-bye. We want to big up and thank you for rocking with us and tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Oh, and definitely share with a friend.
Oh, and don't forget to follow our Instagram handles down below.
So until next time, go ahead, sis.